Hello and welcome to Manika IAS. So in the previous part we discussed about the insurgency in Northeast, the difference between the terms insurgency, militancy and terrorism. We also covered about the causes, the general causes of insurgency in the Northeast. Okay. Now in this part what we will discuss insurgency in separate states, how it is occurring and what is the present condition. So, as far as the incidences are concerned, according to the report of MHA stands for Ministry of Home Affairs. The insurgency in Northeast has been declining. Okay, so in the states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Tripura, it's almost negligible. The incidences were either 1 or 0 as in 2021 as per the annual report of MHA. Fine. Whereas in the states of Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal, and Assam, it's still present, relatively very less in Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. Manipur, the maximum amount of insurgency is there in Manipur, and in Nagaland, it's still existent. Okay, but less than Manipur. Okay, so now we shall discuss the very first state, which is Nagaland. So here we'll discuss insurgency in Nagaland. Insurgency in Nagaland. So, sorry, here if we see the incidences in Manipur were about 112 in 2021. In Nagaland, they were 47 as per the report. In Arunachal Pradesh, there were 26, and in Assam, 21 incidences of insurgency was reported in 2021. It is 2021. So it is declining. Overall, there were 2009 incidences in Northeast. However, they are still existent in these states. Now, let us discuss insurgency in Nagaland. Okay. See, before you get into insurgency, you need to know about Nagaland. Now, let us understand the historical development in the Nagaland. Okay. See, as we discussed earlier, Nagaland was never directly ruled by Britishers. However, it was indirectly ruled. Okay. So, in 1826, British annexed the area of Assam by the Treaty of Yandabo. Okay. So they acquired the region of Assam and they start expanding themselves into uh, other area of Northeast. And as we discussed, they were not that successful in encroaching the other areas because of the presence of tribal communities there and the resentment that they showed to the Britishers' expansion. Okay. However, when it comes to in 1881, they were able to expand to Naga Hills. And always remember here that they did not alter anything when it comes to Naga culture, Naga religion. They did not interfere. They just acquired the further resources or economic or just to control the strategic importance of Nagaland. Okay. So they acquired Naga Hills only for that purpose, not specifically to interfere much into the people's life. They did not do that. Okay. However, it was in 1918 when the very first sign of resistance came from the Naga people, and that was by the formation of Naga Club. They formed Naga Club in 1918. Now, in 1929, so all of you must have read about history, In history you read about Simon Commission. When Simon Commission came, it was the Naga Club which told Simon Commission to leave us alone to determine our for ourselves as in the ancient times. They asked them to leave them alone. They asked them not to interfere in their lives. They also asked them to whenever they leave India, they should not leave them with India. They should always leave them as independent state. So they always wanted an independent sovereign state when it comes to Naga. So this is what they told to Simon Commission. Okay. Now, it was in 1946. What happened in 1946? They formed Naga National Council. Now they formed Naga National Councils because by that time it was clear that India is going to get independence. So they became active and they formed Naga National Councils, which was asserting for independence. Okay. Now, as a result, in 1947 June, where a 9-point agreement was signed, and it was signed between the then governor of Assam, Sir Akbar Hyderabad, with the moderate section of Naga National Council. So what happened is whenever you have a council, as we seen in Indian National Congress also before the independence, there were one section which was radical section and there was one section which was moderate section. Moderate sections are always towards legal resolutions. Okay. However, the radical section is always in the favor of violence. Okay. No, not exactly violence, but yeah. So the moderate section is a section which is easier to please. So it was a 9-point agreement was signed between Sayyid Akbar Haidari with the moderate section of Naga National Council. Okay. However, this was rejected by Fizo. Now, who was Fizo? Fizo was the person who in 1947, 14th August, just one day before we got independence, declared Nagaland as the Naga region where all the Naga people were staying as an independent state. As an independent state. Okay. So he was AZ Fizo. Angami Zafo Fizo. Okay. Now, he rejected this 9-point agreement. And what was the bone of contention? See, although the 9-point agreement, it recognized the rights of Naga to develop themselves as per their wishes, as per their customs. Their customs were accepted, and the agreement also provided judicial, executive, and legislative power to Naga. ठीक है, land and other resources, because you see that the tribal people are so much associated with their lands and the forest resources, and they said the agreement said that these resources could only be alienated to the known Nagas with the consent of NNC. Okay, now all Nagas will be uh, uh, collected under one unified administrative unit. Okay, and they also had the NNC also had the power to collect taxes as per the 9-point agreement, but there was one point of contention, one contentions clause, and that was clause 9. What does the clause 9 says? It says that the governor of Assam will be acting as an agent of government of India, and it will have special responsibility for a period of 10 years towards the observance of this agreement. Okay, so the governor of Assam will act as an agent of government of India for 10 years. Now this clause was read by the two sections differently. One was government of India and one was NNC. NNC assumed that this is like cooling period of 10 years, and after 10 years they'll get independence. This was the connotation that was adopted by Naga National Council. However, the government of India meant that they'll only have power to revise or not revise the agreement if they feel everything is going well. Okay. Now, due to this reason, it was also rejected by the parliament. The clause was also rejected by the parliament. Okay. So it never came into being. However, in 1951, in 1951, 1947, government of the Naga National Councils led by Fizo announced that independence from the state of Nagaland. Okay, and in 1951 they resolve to establish sovereign Naga state. Okay, and to bring that in effect, they conducted a referendum in which 99% of the people who were the Naga community who was staying there in the Naga areas supported an independent Nagaland. And post this referendum mark the beginning of the phase of armed revolution. Till then it was not an armed revolution, but now it started the beginning of our revolution. How does it started? So what happened when after the referendum they got boosted, the morale got boosted, and after the boosting of the morale in 1952, FISO established two units. One was NFG, other was NFA. NFG stand for Naga Federal Government, and they were the underground units. Okay, this was Naga Federal Army, and it led to violent clashes. Now, to suppress this, to suppress this, in 1958, it was in 1958 that the army was sent by the government of India to suppress insurgency in this area, and as a result of which AFSPA, Armed Force Special Protection Act, was also enforced, in which the armed force get the special powers. We'll discuss about three topics later. One is AFSPA, one is inner line permit, and the third is constitutional provisions later. Okay, so AFSPA was enforced. Now, in 1963, the state of Nagaland was formed, which was constituted of the area of Naga Hills plus Tuensang. Tuensang was earlier a part of NIFA, Northeastern Frontier Agency. This is the area of present day Arunachal Pradesh, by and large. Okay, so this was collectively made into Nagaland. Okay, now another accord was signed in 1964 April. Ceasefire agreement was signed, and this was signed between JP Narayan. You must have read about him in your post independence classes, al- with Chief Minister of Assam, and it was signed by plus the revolutionary uh, plus Mitchell Scott. ठीक है? Now this was signed by NNC plus government. Ceasefire agreement means you stop activities of violent, we'll also stop army there. Okay, so we will also not act against you. So ceasefire is to maintain the status quo, to stop violent activities. That is the meaning of ceasefire. Okay, now after this, what despite of the ceasefire agreement, NNC, NFA, and NFG, they continued violence. ठीक है, as a result of which the peace mission was abandoned in 1967. peace mission was abandoned, and another counter-insurgency operation was launched. Counter-insurgency operation was launched by Government of India. Okay. After this, it was in 1975 another accord was signed, which was famously known as Shillong Accord. It was signed between again NNC plus Government of India. ठीक है? And after this accord, a section of NNC plus NFG, they agreed to give up their arms. They said, okay, fine, we will give up arms, we'll stop the armed rebellion that we are continuing. However, this accord was not accepted by T. Muiva plus another 140 members of NNC. Okay. He was also joined by SS Khaplang along with Isek Chisi. ठीक है. Now these three people are very important when it comes to the insurgency in Nagaland, and we'll discuss how and why. Okay. Since NNC के members ने बोला okay fine we were giving up arms, they people left NNC and they form another government, and the name of organization was NSCN. The name of organization was NSCN, National Socialist Council of Naga. National Socialist Council of Naga. Now this was the name of the organization which was formed by these people who were not agreed to the Shillong Accord. Okay. Now it was formed in 1975. It was in 1988 that violent clashes occurred between two factions of NSCN, and they break into NSCNIM and NSCN Khaplang or K. Okay. Now the IM stand for Isak Movia. ठीक है. And K stands for Khaplang. So these are the two factions, and later on this became the mother organization for all the insurgency which is still today present in Nagaland. Okay. Now let us discuss their demands. Now what are these organizations demanding? See, when we talk about IM, NSC and IM, its demand is to have greater Nagalim. Now greater Nagalim is an area which comprises of all the Naga inhabited areas. Okay, now look into this map. This is the greater Nagalim which was sought by NSCN. It includes the area of Arunachal Pradesh, it includes the area of Assam, it includes the area of Myanmar, it includes the area of Manipur. Okay, somehow some area of Meghalaya as well. Now this is the area which is sought by NSC and IM to form a greater Nagalim. And to give you a rough idea, the present day area of Nagaland is about 16.5 thousand kilometers square. Okay, but the area of greater Nagalim is 1,20,000 square kilometer. So you understand the extent of land that they are demanding for to be declared as a greater Nagalim. And it is not easy because first of all, the Myanmar is a separate country, so forget about that. Even in India, the states like Assam or Arunachal Pradesh, they are not ready to give up their identity. है ना? Manipur is not ready to give up their identity, and why should they? Why would they? Because that is why the issue is still prevalent, because it is about sovereignty of every individual unit. Okay. And you will also understand the severity of the issue to an extent that the demand of Greater Nagalim was also being raised in the Nagaland Assembly, and not once, not twice. It was raised almost 5 times, and between a period of 1964 2015, and 2015 was the last time when the demand of Greater Nagalim was raised in the Assembly of Nagaland. So what happened after this? So to the in 1990, Fizo died. So NNC almost became redundant after the death of Fizo. Fizo fled to London in 1960s and he died there. Okay. Further, the member of NNC decided to give up arm, and the other members came up to form NSCN. Okay. So that was the fade end of NNC. Okay. However, in 1990s, the section of IM, they flew to Thailand, and from there the continuous talks were occurring between the leadership in India as well as the factions of IM, and IM, the continuous talks were taking place. And as a result of these talks, it was in 1997 that the ceasefire agreement was signed. Ceasefire agreement was signed with NSCN IM. Another ceasefire agreement was signed in 2001 with NSCN Khaplang. However, this was violated in 2015. As a result of which, in 2015, a framework agreement was signed with the current government in the center, and there were four main points which are not yet in open, and the government of India recognized the unique history and culture of the Naga people, and the details of agreement is not yet in public. However, the incidences are on decline, but it is still prevalent in the state of Nagaland. The way government tackled it, the other provisions and all, we'll discuss later. But now we shall move on to the another topic, another state. So we'll take up the state of Manipur.